He's the greatest quarterback ever.
I mean, him. You can make the argument that him and Mahomes are kind of better than Aaron Rodgers ever and Tom Brady. That they're going to revolutionize the position.
The Bills went an hour and 15 minutes without running a run play.
Jesus.
I was on Titans 9.5 last night, and I was just going, please keep running the ball, because it is not working. I would really appreciate if they keep handing to Devin Singletary, because taking the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, not smart.
No reason to. He has mastered the position. Like, you can see it. He is so he hasn't?
I mean,
he's so good, Woody.
I mean, he's not Tom Brady yet. I mean,
that's true.
You've made him a master of the position. Usually your measurement is he's got to win everything. And
he will.
As recently as 24 hours ago, you were saying, prove it to me, Bills.
Yeah.
That was 24 hours ago. Now they've outscored
they proved it. Yep.
The Rams and the Titans 72-17.
The Titans were the 1 seed in the AFC last year.
Well, this is Greg Cody's late today. I'm eager to hear his perspective as a renowned homer, because you saw what happened to us after 2 games. And Whittingham, I want to encourage you to stay strong, even though it's stupid for you to stay strong. That rooting for yourself to be right is to root against Joy, is to root against Miami, is to root against QAnon. It is so soaked in ego as to be dumb for you to go against.
Not rooting against QAnon, rooting against TUAnon. That's
well, them also, but
$5. Yeah.
We're
not the only ones overreacting, because I heard Monday Night Countdown crew basically say when someone brought up Duper and Clayton, they were like, they weren't this explosive.
The Marx Brothers.
So we've Monday Night Football crew had our 2 receivers above Clayton and Duper already.
After 2 games, and the reason I'm encouraging Whittingham to
They're
stay
the 1 seed, Dan. The
stay
Dolphins.
strong is because somebody's got to do it around here. Because after 2 games, we sound insane.
No.
On NFL Live, they were broadcasting live from Buffalo, and the Bills fans were loudly chanting "Tua sucks," and this made the Dolphins banter on Twitter really funny, because they were like, "Oh, we live rent free in their heads," and it was just so lacking in self-awareness, because anytime another quarterback bounces a ball at a receiver's feet, I see Tua fans retweeting it onto my timeline. Like, Josh Allen isn't perfect all the time.
Oh, I saw it last night. Josh Allen threw one pass into the flat that landed at the feet of a receiver. I see, there's not everyone's perfect.
The accusation that the Dolphins are living rent-free in other people's heads, when anytime Chris Sims sneezes, I find out about it, or Emmanuel Acho puts out another stand-up video where he talks to you like you're stupid, is out there. I see it on my timeline.
Josh Allen doesn't like making that throws to the flats. He just likes throwing 40, 50, 60, 70 yards. He doesn't like that throw. He's not accurate
One
there.
of the things that he does, and this is going to be held against Tua, that Herbert and Josh Allen can do this. When Josh Allen rolls to his left and just slings his arm and it goes 30 yards downfield accurate laser, you're like, good God, that's the strongest arm I've ever seen.
And it's like Jake Kumaro sometimes. He had Stephon Diggs, who had a brilliant game, and that was a hell of an acquisition for them, because you could also, there's a line of demarcation when everybody became wrong on Josh Allen, and it might time up with the acquisition of Stephon Diggs. But he's making other receivers really good. The Gabe Davis took a while in development, had a really good couple of weeks before
he was out last night. Yeah,
and they just slot in Jake Kumaro, and it doesn't really matter. That's a sign of a great quarterback. They can make people that have just been hanging around in the league really good sometimes with their output.
It's when skill players and coaching give a quarterback margin for error. And I think that's what they've afforded Josh Allen, is they've given him the room to grow in a system to where maybe his imperfect accuracy at times in his career is sort of fixed because wide receivers are wide open. Stephon Diggs has the time in the room to adjust, even though now he's being hit in stride because Josh Allen has kind of miraculously improved from an accuracy standpoint. We don't see that happen very often at NFL level.
And Chris, Brian Daboll's obviously being crowned right now. He's 2-0 in the New York market. He has a big Monday nighter against Dallas, and you have in his resume what he did with Josh Allen. But don't overlook what Ken Dorsey has done in his career. The best Cam Newton has ever looked was with Ken Dorsey. The best Josh Allen who has ever looked is with Ken Dorsey on the staff. And these are quarterbacks that a lot of people had questions about.
It's so terrifying how dominant he is outside of the pocket and in play action. Like, you just cannot beat him if you let him outside of the pocket. It's just dangerous. Amina was saying how in week 1 he was like literally like 5 for 5 out of the pocket, 6 for 6 or something from play action, like 11 for 11. Like, it's insane. If you want any chance at stopping the Bills, you have to keep him in the pocket.
For all the time we talk about football and evaluation, I don't know if you guys are as interested in this part of it as I am. As I'm watching Jalen Hurts and Tua, two quarterbacks who would have never been allowed to exist 5 years ago at their size and height because they weren't big enough and they ran too much.
On the same college team.
But as the measurements change, right? And you get to a point where the Kyler Murrays and the 6-footers are out there, and you're like, okay, Bill Polian doesn't think Lamar Jackson's a quarterback, but what we're going to do here is just try and evaluate quarterbacks who look different than any quarterbacks we've ever seen. And here's this centaur who represents athletically the best of all of them because he can do all of the things and has the biggest arm you've ever seen.
And yet when he entered the draft in a draft that is more scrutinized and analyzed than any other draft in professional sports, no one really told us he could do that running the ball. He was
had
alleged,
no idea.
He was alleged to
Zero.
be a statue.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he has okay straight line speed, but he didn't flash that. It was a surprise.
They told us Daniel Jones could do it, and none of us were watching him at Duke.
No, I knew Daniel Jones could do it because he did it against Miami. I watched Josh Allen. Did not know he could do that.
You watched him at Wyoming?
Yeah, because he had all this hype. Remember, I was a Browns
gambling
fan.
again.
No, remember, I was a Browns fan. I was scouting
The last
quarterbacks
time he
a year
was
out.
gambling. Yeah.
You were watching Wyoming football when he was completing 50% of his passes at Wyoming and had a skill set.
Chickens.
What are you talking? What? I don't watch Wyoming football? Huh? I watch everything.
I remember when he was a prospect, it's like, I'm going to watch this just to see what it was about. And it actually, to your point, because in some ways, him and Herbert represent the scouts' representation of physical tools, size and speed and athleticism and big arm, whereas you talk about Baker and Kyler as kind of the representation of kind of a newer age thinking about the quarterback position. It doesn't have to be as stereotypical as standard. And yet these scouting sort of wonders, big quarterbacks with big arms, are also dominating. Just goes to show we know nothing about this position.
I have never seen Mike so outraged about anything than the accusation that he's not watching Wyoming football.
I had a football season in which I became the king of Colgate football Twitter. I don't watch Wyoming? That's FBS. That one's easy.